Hello. Good morning, everyone. Super good morning. How are you guys all doing? Hopefully, everyone is doing fine. And all the Chinese New Year thingy all passed already, right? Even the 9th day of the Hokkien Chinese New Year also done already. There should be no more firework. Right. So, how was the World War in Malaysia? For those of you who are in Malaysia, especially for those of you who are staying in high-rise property, right? So you're staying in high-rise property, right? So if your vantage point is good, you'll be able to see, like, the entire town is like trying to mistle each other, pum 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 pum, within few seconds, few $100 is gone. And again, people say that economy seems to be in a bit of a problem. No lah, where got problem? Right. You look at how they burn the firework, right? So the firecracker, the Hong Pao, is go by foot one, 50 foot, 30 foot. No joke, it's got all the car is like screaming, right? So poor pet. Right, poor pet inside your place, right? So hopefully everybody is doing fine now, right? So now we are going back to the what we call the normal pace of the life already. So because after this no more major festive season, so the beginning of the year has always been very interesting with the Christmas, New Year, then whichever festive season is after that is prioritized. Then after that, so the rest. Right. So hello, Ansun Lee. Right. So hello Sabrina, hello Diana, hello Jocelyn. How you guys all doing? Right, hopefully everyone is doing fine, right? So now we are back at building back the database part of it, and we're gonna take a look at the QiMen 10 deities. So we have done 2. Today we're gonna look at the 9 heaven, right? So we're gonna look at the 9 heaven deities and see what can we draw out from the deity side of it, right? So again, right, these are just to improve your database, to add stuff into your database so that when you are doing a reading, you have some specific meaning that you can drawn out and add into the reading that you are doing, right? So like usual, let me just shrink myself down to the smaller version. This is the tiny version of me, right? So that it doesn't block anything, right? So like usual, channel to basically get in touch with me, Telegram is one of the better one, because I look at Telegram fairly fast. The Telegram have a special ringtone on my phone. So I know when something pop up in the Telegram site. So that's why I can delete all the spams like immediately if I'm not sleeping, right? So no, go on Telegram. So Telegram also is the main place whereby if there's any formula to download, I'll just throw it into Telegram for you to download, right? So you want to download stuff also, you can go into Telegram. You can look at the document and links. Then you can download stuff from there, right? So and then there is the Substack. Substack is a newsletter, and don't call it monthly, right? So it's a newsletter. Anything that I want to publish in written form will basically go to Substack. So right now it is mainly dedicated to share information on monthly forecasts. So if you want monthly forecast, you can call the lengthy version, okay, right? So it's basically inside the Substacks, and also any sort of excursion that I go, basically is recce, right? So recce that I go. So like for example, end of this month, I'll be visiting Penang. So I'm trying to arrange a Penang tour, right? So let's see whether it can work or cannot work. Because I'm not very familiar with Penang, okay, right? So for those of you who would like to come over and visit Penang, maybe mid of the year, when there is the durian season, yes, it will go during the durian season. Or else no point going to Penang, right? So Penang is a food heaven, right? They call it, but very difficult to get parking. All right, but and then in the end, we have the community channel. Community channel is basically just for anyone who love Chinese metaphysics, practicing Chinese metaphysics. You are an enthusiast in Chinese metaphysics. You want a community to come and support you. This is the community channel. Right? So it's basically I call a fan page, right? So you can come in, ask any question, share any experience that you like to, right? So especially, if you have any specific milestone that you have achieved, you want to share the joy, right? So do come in and post inside the community channel, right? So it's a very free-form channel, right? So I don't have a lot of rules, as long as you are not causing any major trouble in the channel, then it's fine. Hello Gemma, hello Gigi, hello Diana, how are you going? Hello Eve. Good morning to all of you, right? So those are all the method of getting in touch with me, right? So for whatever reason you want to get in touch with me, up to you, right? So no, and then what happened is that this is called a QiMen chart, by the way. It's just a chart. A chart is just an energy distribution. Our forefather has come up with way of plotting the energy at any point of time, right? So in the olden day, this is a very difficult task to do. Today, with the advancement of databases and also software, this has become very easy. So your job is actually just to interpret the chart. I don't make it very difficult for yourself, right? So I'm using Typing Astro at this current moment. So if you also want to do for familiarity purpose, because all my sharing will be using this version anyway. So easier for you if you are using the same version. So it's easy for you to see. Some people look at it and say, oh, why this version is different from that version? You want to know why this version different from that version? Go and ask that version fella. Don't come and ask me why his one is different. I don't know why his one is different. Okay, right? So there are certain things that you need to basically know, right? So you can get the chart from Typing Astro. So of course, there's always the free version which you can just register and use, right? So it's just lesser information. It's the same info. Okay, right? Lesser information, same info. If you are the paid version, then a lot of things has been translated. That's all. Okay, that's the only difference. So if you are somebody who like to do things in raw manner, right? Take photo also is the same. Photo got the raw format, which is the not edited format. That's called the raw format, right? And also the heavily edited format, which is called the filter format. It's up to you which format that you like to do. Hello, John Kim, how are you doing? Hello, Peppo, how are you doing? Right, so hopefully you guys are doing fine. Right, so now again, so this is one of the QiMen Tunja. So if you want to learn anything that is about Chinese metaphysics in today's context, whatever classical text that is available has actually already been transposed to digital form. You can go into the internet and search for it, right? Doesn't matter whichever QiMen Tunja information you want. But here's the thing, those things that you read from the internet, this one, right? I call them raw text. So you don't have any actual contextualization of the situation. You don't know what the hell is the guy's situation back then. Right, so that's why sometimes it's very difficult. This is also one of the reasons why a lot of people ask whether AI can or cannot. At this current moment, answer is cannot. Because why? Poorly translated. right. So I've been playing with AI, this particular few days. A lot of things that the AI churn out cannot swallow. Okay, right? So cannot blame them lah. Rubbish in, rubbish out, right? Rubbish in, rubbish out is the same text, get translated by 10 person, got 10 different meaning, right? So if you don't have the overarching what we call foundational information, you get it pretty wrong. Okay, right? That's basically it, right? So now nothing wrong with it. So for those of you who have a little bit more endowed with Chinese, you might want to help the community in terms of understanding the Chinese wording, because I am also not a Chinese-based person. It's just that, I've seen enough Chinese metaphysics to understand where is the direction that comes from. A lot of text I read also doesn't really make much sense. But after some time of researching, then I know where the direction comes from, and I'll be able to agree with it, part and not part. Right? Many issues with AI now, DeepSeek being banned. That's how human is. Cannot fight it, you ban it. That's what human do, by the way, right? So there's a lot of industry right now that is try to circumvent AI entry by using law, right? So whatever, right? So anyway, right? So as far as I know, with technological advancement, every single introduction of new technology always come with this particular phase whereby some people oppose to it and do a lot of funny stuff. So, yeah. Then in the end, everybody still use. It's the same. Electricity also is the same. I've shared with you guys, right, when we talk about AI, when electricity was first introduced, everybody is saying that, oh, electricity electrocute everybody. But right now, whose house don't have electricity? Right? Same thing when they introduced internet at that time. So they said internet will kill everyone. Now who is not using internet? Yeah, also it's the same. It's just a phase, right? So right now you ban, he ban, that. Give it a few years, right? Everybody will have a personal AI assistant, right? It's just like that. Okay, that's how will work, right? So now get back to the same thing, right? So for you to understand QiMen got 4 components, right? So only have 4 components, pretty easy. The easy part about QiMen is everything is boxed up, right? So you got 8 boxes. 8 boxes represent 8 different thingies. So if you know which box to read, it's actually very simple. QiMen is super simple because you only got 4 things to read. And one of it usually represent the marker or the targeting point, so that one don't need to read. So actually only got 3 things to read, and it's much simpler than puzzle. Much simpler than puzzle. So we have done all the door, right? So if you want to find out about the energetic component of the door and functionality of the door, go and watch all the door video, right? So it is inside the QiMen Essential playlist. So right now we are continuing to build the QiMen Essential playlist, which I call the database. And we have done Chief, we have done the 6 harmony, right? So look up Tong Chik Fu. So we have done these 2 already. So right now we move on to looking at the 9 heaven, so which is the next one. So we'll just go in sequence. We do all the good guy first, then we do all the bad guy. Right, so but again, I already tell people there's no good guy, bad guy. But by the way, the sequence that you see right now is how the QiMen chart is plotted. So if you can find the starting point of the QiMen chart, then the rest of it is just following this sequence to plot. So this is the actual plotting sequence. So in the olden day, if you want to learn QiMen, you need to learn the sequence as well. Today, again, I tell you, don't care. Just go and use whichever software that you feel you are connected with, right? Which means that you open it, you know how to read. That's all, right? So I use a few different software, right? So but Typing Astro is the one that primary using right now, right? So now that's how it's basically working, right? So come, let's take a look at the 9 heaven, right? So the 9 heaven name is very nice. So 9 heaven is part of a good guy, right? So if you take a look at it, the proper name is Gao Tin, right? So 9 heaven. Now this is where the goddess lady of the 9 heaven, Gao Tin Yun Loi, which is the person who supposedly bring the QiMen Tunjia from heaven down to earth and passed down to the Yellow Emperor Huang Di, right? So and go and fight whichever demon it is, right? So whatever lah, that particular story, right? Don't worry about that particular storytelling part. There's a reason why they need to change everything into story, because why human work on story. Your brain work on story, right? So when they tell you story, it's easier for you to understand than telling you that this is because of this particular star constellation, right? So that particular part of it, if they go and tell it to people, right, everybody go blur case. Even today you talk about constellation, people will go blur case. But when you talk about all this story, it's fine, right? So it doesn't matter to me. It is a label, right? So this is the question why a table is called a table, because the guy who invented table named it as table. Right? So up until today, everybody agree that the 4 leg with a piece of wood on top of it is called table. That's it. Right? So to me, it's just a label. Okay, right? So it's called 9 heaven. So more importantly is to understand the component characteristic of the 9 heaven. So when you're doing a reading, that time you can contextualize and put meaning into the reading. That's all. Right, so main thing about Chinese metaphysics, you need to understand, really understand this, which is a lot of people fail to understand, as this is called a bucketing system. It is not a definitive system. Definitive system means that one word have one meaning. They match. Okay, that's called definitive system. So mostly I call it the English system. So unfortunately, Chinese system like to bucket everything together. So which means that the heaven has many different meaning. Okay, so this is like a bucket of screw. So I don't know whether you guys, so my dad is an engineer, right? So my dad is an engineer, right? So what happened engineer like to do is that it's the same, every single engineer like to do. They like to keep parts. So there is always a bucket where all the screws go in. Every single screw that you have ever worked with will go into that bucket. Yeah, So now other people have a specific screw drawer. Every drawer got one type of screw, or the same type of screw goes in. Those are called definitive, right? So but for us, what you call old time engineer, all the screw go into one bucket. So when you want to find the correct screw, that time you have to pour the entire bucket out and find the screw. I don't know whether you guys done it before. I've done it a lot, because I need to help my dad with engineering work. Okay, right? So no, this basically, so like heaven have a lot of meaning, right? A lot of things got chunked into the heaven, right? So now again, for the QiMen, you just imagine this, right? Now all Chinese metaphysics come from the basis of the trigram, right? The 8 direction, right? So the trigram, right? So the trigram is the Qian, Kun, right? So Geng, all those kind of things are called trigram, and trigram got a lot of meaning inside. So to further refine the meaning, the QiMen method has adopted splitting the trigram into 4 separate components. So the human component are called stem. So all the human related things, in the trigram are thrown into the stem. Then the stars, which is where the heaven is about environmental quality. So in the olden day, it's called landscape, geographical landscape. Like if you're fighting a war, then that is the topography, right? So then the door is about all the action stuff, got stuff into the door, and then deities, is where so by the nine heaven is the deities, stuff, right? So the deities is where the intention is being kept. Right, so this is where we're going to take a look at it, right? So we're going to take a look at 9 heaven. So what are the actual characteristic of the 9 heaven? So this is not this is not a fixed definition, right? So it is the characteristic of the 9 heaven. So 9 heaven is always talking about vision. So a 9 heaven is very, very extremely vision. So which means that it's stuff that you can visualize and see. So 9 heaven is very good at visualizing. Right, so anything that has to do with visualizing is basically under the purview of 9 heaven. So a lot of time I tell people 9 heaven is really about future value. It's about future quality. It's about everything that has to do with you want to call it distant future also can. Right, so now when we talk about future, it's basically just mean far. So in what we call QiMen reading, right? So if you are looking at that, I'm looking at something that's far away, then 9 heaven would be a good marker for you to look at far away, right? So then what other thing is basically associated with far away, like height? If you are at a higher point, you will see further away. So that's why tall building is under the purview of 9 heaven. Right, so when you are taking a look, let's say that this is a feng shui reading that you are doing, right? So and then you see that particular direction got 9 heaven, so that is talking about something, a structure that's probably a bit more higher, taller structure, right? So that's basically called 9 heaven, because as you stand in a higher plane, you see further, right? Can see or not how the conclusion is being made. So now 9 heaven is actually not about tall building. It's just that the tall building allow you to encompass the characteristic of 9 heaven, being allowing you to see further, right? Allowing you to see further means that you can plan further, so you can see things in a more clearer manner. You can plan as you go nearer, right? So that is basically 9 heaven. So see that 9 heaven, is it equivalent to tall? Tall is part of 9 heaven, but it's not equivalent to tall. Right, so it's just that tall is one of the characteristic of it, right? So so that's why when you are, let's say, talking to 9 heaven, is very important that whether the thing that you are talking about is something that can be visualized. So now jump to those people who has a little bit of loving in terms of using QiMen to do destiny reading. So if let's say 9 heaven is inside your destiny, then you are somebody who are good at visualizing, right? So if somebody who is good at visualizing also mean that it's easier for you to go into a state of hallucination. Right, yeah, 9 heaven is something that basically doesn't really exist yet. The word is yet. Right, so that's why people with 9 heaven capability are usually somebody who can sometimes what we call see the future, right? So see the future, or they can envision the future, right? So because for you to create anything, you need to first envision it first. Getting high also can, getting high also, so because getting high or in a hallucinogenic state. Yes, somebody take mushroom just to be a bit hallucinogenic, right? So there is an entire therapy line that use hallucinogenic as the method of unlocking your brain, right? So that's yes, got people go for all this hallucinogenic party. Right? not legal, not illegal implication, other side of things, right? But it does exist, right? So that is also under, you know, nine heaven, right? So depending on how you do things, right? So no, nine heaven is not about whether it's true or not true, the thing that you're saying, you're just seeing, right? You're just seeing. Then, you know, once you see clear, right? So because for anything to be created, it need to be created twice. Once is inside your mind, second only is in reality. If it does not create inside your mind, you cannot create it inside your reality, because anyhow, we are creature that does replication. A lot of invention that you and I know today, that you find it is very amazing, was actually something that has already been invented in nature. Right? So whether you guys know or don't know, like submarine, you know, ballast tank is actually whales ballast tank. Right, how whales is able to go up and down. So they study the whale, they've seen whale before. Like helicopter was actually from dragonfly. I don't know, people observe dragonfly. Oh no, they can do like this, you know. So they invented the helicopters. Right. It was said that nine heaven cannot hear but see picture. Yes, the primary method of nine heaven is basically visual. Okay. Right. So it's like looking at a picture. Right. So 7 star, 9 heaven is pretty powerful then. Star level actually, it doesn't really talk about whether the Valor is powerful or not powerful. It doesn't talk about it. It's just, it is working at a different priority level, right? So please don't say that, you know, 7 star is more powerful than 0 star, right? So 0 star can probably KO 7 star, you know, at any time point. So don't look at it as the star level coin, but it's for easier purpose to understand, because your brain work in such a way that bigger number means better, you know. You have work in that particular manner, right? So now to me it's very simple. A lower part means that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I call it the lower part. They have a bigger portfolio of things that they can do, because, you know, they are not bothered with things like whether this is proper or not proper. Whereas the higher level star one, you know, they usually have a reputation to maintain. Okay, so the 5, 6, 7, you know, you can call 5. You can call number 4 as the center point. Number 4 is a neutral color, right? So no, 5, 6, 7, 1 are usually more proper. So depending on your situation, sometimes being proper is actually detrimental to you. You need to be a little bit being able to play dirty. Okay, right? So by the way, I tried looking for the fear door on the QiMen playlist. No, couldn't find. Okay, Arif, I go and check for the fear door for you, see, you know, where it is hiding, you know, because sometimes I forget to put it into the playlist. It happened. Okay, right? So now number 1, anything that has to do with visionary, visual, you know, stuff, you know, it has to do with 9 heaven, right? So again, depend on what you are reading, right? So second thing, right? So it's usually expanding mean that, you know, so it's future vision, right? So expanding usually is looking at things that probably at this current moment doesn't exist. So that's called expanding. What you have, then, you know, it can imagine the extension of it, right? So that's why it's looking at future, is looking at further distance, right? So if you are checking on stuff that is future related, right? So, you know, extension or whatever that is available, looking at, you know, what is to become, right, in the future. 9 heaven would be your go-to fella, right? So that's why, again, right, when we talk about visionary, is looking at things that probably has yet to exist yet. It is also have to be looking at beyond now, right? So that's why 9 heaven is further distance, whereas 9 earth is current, right? 9 earth and 9 heaven is basically that two part. You can call future and past future, right? So it's basically that two fella, right? So 9 earth, again, when we talk about 9 earth, that you see that it is all about current. So 9 heaven is all about future, right? So that's why 9 heaven is about expanding, you know, all these things that are about, you know, future star, right? So how is things gonna go, you know, in front, right? So you can check the quality of the 9 heaven star to know whether future is bright or not. So if you got the 9 heaven, then everything black color, good luck on brighter future. Right? So now again, please do not look at things like, oh, my future is basically bad. It is bad because your current decision is bad. change your decision, your future will change. Right? That's the great thing about QiMen. Right? QiMen is basically using your current energy level to measure your future projection. Your future projection can change. Because why? QiMen every 2 hours change. Right? QiMen is just assessing, you know, with all the decision that you have made right now at this current moment, compound everything together, mix, right? It's going to be like that, right? So it's going to be like that. So, you know, if you don't want the thing to be like that, then you need to scrap all the thing and change. But for a lot of people, they're just not willing to scrap stuff. Yeah. Right? So you're not willing to throw away all the stuff and restart the entire process. A lot of people are not willing to do that. A lot of people, their perception in life is, my environment changed for me, I don't change. That's why everything doesn't work. Because why? The environment don't care about your existence. Ta-da! Right? So again, right? So if you take a look at AI also, it's the same right now. No, it's like a lot of human right now is unwilling to change the way that they deal with the world. Right? So they want AI to change. Hey, AI actually don't care about your existence. I'll just tell you first, right? So, you know, just tell you AI is a creature that doesn't need to eat. It does not need to sleep. It doesn't have pain. It doesn't suffer cold. It doesn't suffer hot, right? It basically, you know, is forever existing. So, you know, if it's something that's forever existing, right, why does it need to do anything? Right, so you just imagine if you are currently a creature that do not need to eat, do not need to sleep, feel no pain, no hot, no cold. So basically speaking is that if you decide to stand there and, you know, look at the situation and don't do anything, or just stand there, look at the situation, right? You can see that the people around you die, their children die, their grandchildren die, their grandchildren all die already, right? You're still okay. Tell me, if that's the case, is there anything that you want to do or not? Nothing, right? Nothing for you to do. You do, you don't do, doesn't really bring any meaning to you. You participate, you don't participate, doesn't mean any meaning to you. Bomb fall down, you don't die. Entire world change into the desert, you're still around. You start to see or not, right? So no, but then human like to use our human ego to measure everything. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, I want to do this, do that. I don't want to do anything. Right, just remember that. Right. So now back to this one. Right. So back to this one. Right. So it has a lot to do with advancement. You know, it has a lot to do with again, you know, creating things that, you know, doesn't exist. Like for example, you know, I will tell you right now, drone can do so many amazing things. Last time, if you want to do the thing that drone does, you know what you need? You need a helicopter. You need a camera crew. Yeah, camera crew with the, you know, big ass camera, right? All those kind of things, right? You need all these things together, then only you'll be able to achieve the footage that a drone can do right now. Right? So right now the drone is so smart that, you know, it can land and fly from your palm of your hand. It can auto track you, you know, all those kind of things. Last time cannot. Right? Last time you need a drone pilot, you know, to control the drone. Nowadays you just release a drone, it will follow you, right? So where does that come from? Somebody must have imagined it and basically, you know, work out, right, how to do it, right? So, you know, right now we got drone show that, you know, where 10,000 drone can be controlled by one computer and do the night dragon dance, right? So, you know, sky dragon dance. Right, so, you know, those are the stuff that amazing stuff that people can do, right? So the person who did all of those, you know, must have pretty good 9 heaven. When I say pretty good 9 heaven, right? So the 9 heaven will land on either one of the palace, right? So no matter which chart you open, don't care whether it's your destiny chart, year chart, month chart, day chart, hour chart, the 9 heaven will always be there. So there will always be one component that overarch on the future projection of things that is happening. So if you are interested to take a look at expansion, visionary stuff, you know, just go and target the 9 heaven box. Right, so pretty simple. So it really depends on what you are looking at. Right, so now this is where, you know, somebody said 9 heaven can see, cannot hear, right? In a way, yes. Right, so 9 heaven people, right? So 9 heaven people, 9 heaven situation is very visual demanding. So it's about, you know, presentation, you know, visual cue. Right, so it's all about the vision type of stuff, you know. So it's very in the Bazi world, this is pretty much very eating God characteristic. So the 9 heaven is very eating God, hurting officer in the Bazi world. So, but just that the 八字 world translation is a bit different. It comes from the same background. It comes from the same background, right? So, nine heaven is basically in the feng shui is the south, Li Gua, right? Li Gua is basically nine heaven, right? So in the feng shui, so can you see that there are associative connection between the different art, but all of them have almost the same basis one. So you got nine heaven here in QiMen, right? So then you got feng shui there, you got the Li Gua, right? So Li Gua, which is South Palace, and inside your 八字 there you got the output, which all represent people who has very good future imagination. Right? If you take a look at a 八字, output is things that you produce, so things that you produce mean that it move on to the future state, right? So yeah, so nine heaven is things that's move on to the future state. So anything that has to do with future state, imaginary, new creation, so all those kind of stuff is basically on nine heaven, and all of this usually is very associated with a you want to call future leader, right? Future leader, somebody who has great vision on things that may come, they are concentrated on the higher end of things. So nine heaven usually has a more higher noble cause, right? So now the what we call the current version of the leader is chief. Chief is the human version of leader, right? Chief usually worried about the current phase of things, whereas nine heaven is more on the future state of things. Right, so that's why sometimes you need to know which is which when you are reading things like leadership. By the way, each of the deity also can become a leader. Okay, every single one of it. Right, so maybe one day when we are done with all this basic information, then we will go into talking about different scenarios. So let's say the different scenario mean that under communication, how each of these component will communicate. You start to understand that every single one of it represent everything. It's just different stuff, right? It just happen in a different manner. So which means that no matter whichever combination you have, right, there is gonna be one situation whereby you will stand out. So the challenge is to find that situation that causes you to stand out and place yourself in that particular situation so that you stand out. That's the game plan only, very simple. Right, so now let's talk a little bit about manifestation, right? So if you talk about manifestation strategy, if you don't know how to, if you got nine heaven around, you try to manifest with nine heaven. Watch more video. Today is very easy. Watch more video, watch more for photo. So more video, more photo, easy for you to imagine. If you cannot imagine on your own, like me, replicate, very easy to replicate. Right? Replicate the thingy, right? So when you are manifesting using nine heaven, you need to give visual cue. Right? So think of future state, right? So now future state is easier to think of because why? Your brain already know future state doesn't exist, so you have to force your brain to create. Make sense? Right, so now this one, a bit of a off-scale discussion is your dream. So those people who are dreaming, right, don't have the dream. No, not the got work, don't want to do, look at the sky dreaming, really sleeping that time dreaming. When you are dreaming, mean that your memory got gap. Your brain cannot deal with memory gap one. So when your memory have gap, we call QiMen. So your brain will create a bridge between the two memory gap via dream. You try to fill in stuff on it, right? So your brain does that. Okay, so that's why you have dream. So for those people who have no dream one, your life is pretty simple. There are no memory gap. All right, for those who have memory gap, especially traumatized people usually have a lot of dreams, right? So traumatized people have a lot of dreams, right? So if you got constantly a lot of dream, means that you got certain things inside your mind that has been zoned out that you have not resolved. So that's why you want to go and see a doctor, psychologist, consultant, whatever, and just talk about the situation and try to unlock the thing. So once you unlock, the dream stop. Simple enough, right? So no, again, don't bother with talking. I'll show you. Nine heaven is really not a talker, right? So if you want to talk, Phoenix would be the one. Okay, Phoenix the one is in charge of yapping. Right, so nine heaven is actually in charge of vision. So that's why you want to use nine heaven, right? So when you use nine heaven, then be a visual person. So nowadays it's much more easy to be a visual person because of the onset or the easy availability of visual stimuli lah. Right. Yeah. No, there are more visual content nowadays than any other content, right? So in the olden day, you read those storybook and then you start to imagine. That's in the olden day. So today you don't even need to do that anymore. The imagining has already been done for you. Right? You can go and watch movie, watch content, everything. Those are all visual. Right, so those are all basically visual stuff. So you wanna, do Nine Heaven, you need to be visual. So people who are very good at drawing, their Nine Heaven usually is pretty awesome. Okay, they have got pretty awesome Nine Heaven inside of them. Like for me, my Nine Heaven is very low class. That's why I'm not very good with visual. Okay, right. So now let's take a look at example. Right, so example. So that is how Nine Heaven is being labeled in Typing Astro. Right, so in Typing Astro, Nine Heaven is labeled as 7, right? So that's how you identify Nine Heaven. So that is where the Nine Heaven is, right? So now depending on what you are reading, right? Depending on what you are reading. So again, right, every component is basically just a marker. It prompts you to look at the box and you interpret the rest of the information, right? So and then depend on the contextual way that you want to interpret it. Right, so then you can take a look. Like for example, right? So like for example, if you're reading relationship in this context, right? So relationship, we usually use harmony as the contextual, right? So now you go and find the harmony box. In relation to the Nine Heaven, this is countering. So this one I can tell you, future not very good, right? So if Nine Heaven is representing future, right? So then the harmony is countering the Nine Heaven. So this relationship future not good. Okay. Yeah, my slide very nice. My slide is, if you are comparing to the professional slide, this is really pretty bad. Thank you for the encouragement. Right, by the way, right, just tell you, right, so this one talking about, future state of the relationship. Please, don't every single time you look at harmony, then you go and look at Nine Heaven, say that, oh, this relationship is not going to work out. No, it will work out one. It's just how strategic you are in working out. So if you understand the what we call the QiMen, right? So plate move around. The plate move around. It's just that if you want this relationship to work, you require a little bit more work. That's all I need, right? So it requires a little bit more work from both sides, okay, from basically both sides, right? So now if you take a look at this particular harmony right now, it's all about sex. Okay, it's all about sex. So if you're okay with sex life, then this is a good relationship, right? Destiny Palace has Nine Heaven, and this year is in my palace. Any advantage for me? Diana, if Nine Heaven is inside your palace, then this year is very good for you to do future planning. Future planning, right? So now how far is the future you want to plan, up to you, right? It's good for you to do future, easier for you to visualize, right? So again, right, before you make anything concrete, the visualization part of it is very important, right? So it's like traveling from one place to another place. If you don't know where you're going to travel to, how you travel also cannot reach, okay? QiMen constructs for query where action is involved. This QiMen consultation strictly, QiMen consultation usually is for a bit of a strategic purpose. My advice for you is that when you go into a QiMen consult, is that you need to know what are the action that you're going to perform first. So again, a lot of time I tell people is that QiMen traditionally is what we call often used in battle. So when you talk about battle, it's always there is a party who has traveled very damn far to your land to attack. Okay? So it is not a method of, I reach your land and whether I'm going to attack or I'm not going to attack. It's a very stupid question to ask whether to do or not to do. Okay? It's the question of how can I do this efficiently? There's actually no backing off. Okay, so the question is that, I have all this army ready, I'm at the doorstep right now. My plan is to attack using fire arrow. Okay, now you open the QiMen chart. So if I attack with fire arrow, how? What is my repercussion if I attack with fire arrow, right? So when the QiMen chart tells you that if you use fire arrow to attack, you are fucked. Then change your attack formation. It's not whether, to go home or not. Right? There's no going home. So that's why a lot of time is that before you consult a QiMen, right, you better be very sure that you're going to execute first. That's where the action come in. But again, I just tell you, normal people is that they got no plan to execute. Right? They got no plan to execute, right? So, right, that's why a lot of time their queries fail. Right? Yeah. Okay, so you have to have the heart to execute. I already have a plan. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I have. So it's very important when you go into achievement that you need to be able to tell the consultant what you have, what you're willing to do, what is your plan in this current time. Then only when we look at the chart, we know where all the components falls. And the important thing is that I'll be able to tell you right now, this is the component that need to be fixed. Then only the rest of it will flow in a nice manner. So I do, right? So like for example, so this one, if we are gonna take a look at a money related matter, so we look at live door. Live door also is counter 9 heaven. Right? So you know that this one in terms of monetary. Now so again, right, 9 heaven mean future, right? So which means that this particular, I don't know, business deal or whatever probably is a short term thingy, right? So no long term, no good. That's it, right? So it doesn't mean cannot make money. Right, countering 9 heaven doesn't mean so. This is a short-term skit, right? What's wrong with it? So again, a relationship also is the same. Might not have good, long-term thingy. Might need to work on it. Doesn't mean cannot. Right. So please, the interpretation really has to do with what are the circumstance and expectation. Right, circumstance and expectation. So if your expectation is that I want a good future. Right. So you want a good future mean that you are living in anxiety. By the way. Right, people who look at past too much is living in depression. People who look at future too much is living in anxiety. So for you to be happy, stable, you need to have selective past, also have selective future, but you need to live in current. So the what we call the Taoism way of talking about things is your level of acceptance need to be pretty good. Right, so you want to have a good life, your level of acceptance in pretty good, and you need to be able to be very flexible in terms of changing stuff, right? Cool, can be done, right? So this is basically a sample reading, right? So depend on what you're going to read, right? So but you need to know the component first. It's not every single time you need to read the component. It's like the future might not be something that you are concerned of at this current moment. Correct or not? So that's why you need to know your objective of reading. So if you don't have an objective of reading, very difficult to read. Every box also got information. Every box also carry good and bad. Right? So there's no such thing as all bad. There's no such thing as all good. It's just that at this current moment, should you worry about that part of it or not? Right? If it's not something that you should worry about, then don't. Right? Or else every single thing also you cannot. Right? So these are not designed to disable you. It's designed to enable you to move forward. Right? Every single thing is designed to do that. Your Bazi designed to enable you. Your Feng Shui designed to enable you. Your QiMen designed to enable you. Right? So so that's why in practicing, you need to know what are the things that you need to filter off at this current moment. What are the things that need to be concerned, and importantly, as a lot of you have highlighted, what is your action point? Right? No action point talk like how also no use in the end. Okay, so that's why execution always trump theory. That is where things come in. All right, guys, that's it for the 9 heaven. So have fun with the rest of the day. Tomorrow we will come back with something else. Probably tomorrow we'll do a bit on the Bazi, right? So Bazi also got the basic one. So let me cover all the basic first. Then only we go to the advanced thingy. All right, so take care, guys. Bye.